je fais la grève de l'école devant le Parlement suédois. Je le fais pour faire attention à la crise climatique. Every Friday, we sit outside the Parliament in Sweden until Sweden is in line with the Paris Agreement. We urge everyone to do the same wherever you are. Sit outside your parliament or local government building until your nation is on a safe pathway to a below 2-degree warming target. By the way, this 1.5 to stay alive is very misleading. Of course, it would be awesome if we could limit the warming to 1.5 degrees, but it's practically impossible. In the future, we might find a solution to do so, but we cannot focus on doing that right now, because we have already that built in the system. I was just going to say it. If we include all of Sweden's and Belgium's current emissions, including aviation and shipping and imported goods, and if we take into account the aspect of equity clearly stated in the Paris Agreement and the Kyoto Protocol, rich countries like Sweden or Belgium need to start reducing emissions by at least 15% every year. By doing so, we enable a chance for developing countries to heighten their standard of living by building some of the infrastructure that we have already built, such as roads, schools, hospitals, electricity, clean water, etc. Some people say that we should be in school instead. But why should we be studying for a future that soon will be no more, when no one is doing anything whatsoever to save that future? And why... And what is the point of learning facts within the school system when the most important facts given by the finest science of that same school system clearly means nothing to our society and our politicians? Today, we use 100 million barrels of oil every day. There are no politics to change that. There are no rules to keep that oil in the ground. So we can't save the world by playing by the rules, because the rules have to be changed. Everything needs to change, and it has to start today. You don't have to go anywhere to protest against the climate crisis, because climate change is everywhere. You can stand or sit outside any government building anywhere in the world and do just as much good. You can stand outside any oil or energy company, any food store, any newspaper, any airport, any gas station, any meat producer or any TV station in the world. No one is doing nearly enough. Everything and everyone needs to change. The Secretary General of the United Nations say that we have until 2020 to change course and bend the emission curves steep downwards to stay within reach of the Paris Agreement, or the world is facing a direct existential threat. If people knew that the scientists say that we right now have less than a 5% chance of reaching the Paris Agreement, and if Paris target, and if people knew what nightmare scenario we will face if we don't keep the global warming to below 2 degrees, they wouldn't need to ask me why I'm on school strike outside the Swedish Parliament. Because if everyone knew how serious the situation is and how little is actually being done, everyone would come sit next to us. In Sweden, we live our lives as if we had resources of 4.2 planets. In Belgium, you need 4.3 planets. Both our carbon footprints are among the top 10 highest in the world. This means that Sweden and Belgium steal over 3 years of natural resources from future generations every year. We who belong to those future generations demand Sweden, Belgium and all other countries to put an end to that and start living within the planetary boundaries. This is a cry for help. To all newspapers who have never treated this crisis as a crisis, to all the influencers who stand up for everything except the climate and the environment, to all the political parties that pretend to take the climate question seriously, to all of you who know but choose to look the other way every day because you seem more frightened of the changes that will prevent a catastrophic climate change than the catastrophic climate change itself. Your silence is almost worst of all. The future of all the coming generations rests on your shoulders. What you do now, we children can't change when we grow up. A lot of people say that Sweden or Belgium are just small countries and that it doesn't matter what we do. But I think that if a few children can get headlines all over the world just by not going to school for a few weeks, imagine what we could do together if we really wanted to. Every single person counts, just like every single emission counts, every single kilogram. So please treat the climate crisis like the acute crisis it is and give us a future. Our lives are in your hands. It is time to rise for climate.